Very excited. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending from where you're connecting from. I'd like to have your name and your location. We'd like to know where you're connecting from. Thank you for being on this show with us today. And before I go into the show proper, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sandra Ukoh. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member, speaker, trainer, and coach. I'm your sales expert of over 20 years in the IT industry. I'm a member of the Toastmaster and also a best-selling author. And today I have a special guest with me. Her name is Allison. But before I bring her on board, I like to introduce the show. We bring great people who are making a difference in their world to just tell us how they've been, learn from them, glean from them, because you can't know everything all the way. You learn from other people. You get good by, learning and having a lot of mentors. And so that's what we do. We bring great men and women who are there to make a difference in their world, to share their story with us. And today we have another guest, another phenomenal guest who will be sharing a story with us. So just relax as you come on board. Let me just introduce the show. So, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I just go in to read. I just want to read about before I bring our guests up on the show. Allison Newcomer is a friend. We met in John Maxwell IMC program, and ever since then we've been in touch. And I knew she has a great story to share with us today, and that's why she's here with me to share a story. Allison Newcomer is a native of the North Carolina. She's a mother of two kids. She has a bachelor's in psychology, MBA, then a Maxwell Leadership Certified DISC certified consultant. She's also certified in diversity and inclusion. She has over 20 years serving as the HR business partner, where she was given the opportunity to partner with organizational leaders to execute strategic initiatives. She currently works at the North Carolina Hospital as the Senior Learning and Organizational Development Consultant, where she concentrates on how to build equitable and inclusive experience for every employees, patients, and the community at large. Throughout her career, she has focused on building inclusive work cultures through connection and building strong relationships, helping people to learn and to leverage their commonalities to overcome their differences. She was given a gift that is empathy, the curiosity to understand others, and the ability to know our way is one way. And there is something she learned from there's something she learns from each person she meets. She has chosen to take time to learn from everyone she meets, to learn a lesson, believing that everyone has got a skill or something that makes them unique. So she takes time to learn from each person she comes across. And over time, she has realized that it is the quality of our relationship that determines the quality of our life. And solid relationships start with developing our self-awareness. So being intentional with our actions and seeking to understand others is key in life. So knowing and appreciating that each person wants to be seen and and felt and valued and reminded that they are enough. So it's also the quality of our relationship that will determine our professional success in life. She's very intelligent and technically skilled, but learning how to value and connect with others who are different from her will provide the competitive edge and advantage. And she enjoys working with new leaders, helping them develop strong foundation centered around intentionality and people to grow a successful career. She's so proud of the relationship she has built in the past years with her children and everyone around her. And as we know, parenting is not for the weak ones. And that's true. She said it. And creating the right balance of teaching, mentoring, and coaching is an art, not a science. True. And what she loves most about art is when we make mistake, the painting is not disregarded. We adjust and continue to move forward. The mistake is acknowledged and built upon to create a beautiful masterpiece. And that's true. And there is this word that says, when you make mistake, it's another way of doing things. And today I have our guest, Allison Newcomer. Hey, I'm excited to have you.
I am very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. I want to welcome you, and I hope you felt welcome. And also want to welcome our viewers. Thank you for being on this show. And today we have a dear friend. We actually met over a year ago. We met at the IMC International Maxwell Leadership Certification Academy. And that's ever since then, we've been, following ourselves. We've been talking to each other. She's a great resource, and that's why I wanted her to be on this show so we can learn from her and experience. So great to have you. Is there something you want to say to the audience so we
Well,
can
I,
speak?
yeah, I want to definitely thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. And one of the things I learned from you, Sandra, is you have just this amazing drive and you go for it. Like you go for whatever it is you want to accomplish. And I remember when we first met and just I want to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I have a video. I'm going to have a video. I watch you and I learn that from you. And so I channel my Sandra more than you know.
You channel what?
I channel you. I channel like what would Sandra do in this moment?
You are very dear. You are very funny. No, I saw you as a very quiet person when we met, but I know that when you want to talk, you talk.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's part of me. I start quiet, I'm an
You
observer.
have a quiet look, but that's very deceptive. Because I remember some of the pictures we took when we were finishing,
Yeah.
and you were like, you were.
I
I have
was
to.
channeling you. I was taking notes. I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to pose.
You are a darling. So great to have you on this show.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Do you want to tell us something? Maybe it's something I didn't read in your bio. You want to share something outside your resume you just want to share before we go into the questions? And just to have be relaxed and enjoy yourself. It's going to be interactive.
Yeah.
No, it's you're not on a not set.
I no, I definitely appreciate that introduction. And I do over 20 plus years, I've just learned that connecting with people, and that's really where the value is. That's where success is. And so I'm ready to jump in and talk about how do we connect with people and how do we value others, and in a world where it's so easy to just be polarized, how do we overcome that to get back to connecting with people and saying, hey, we might disagree on something and that's okay.
True.
Yeah.
True. And really relationship seems to be a greater currency compared to money. So I tell people, I say there are two currencies we have. We have the relationship as a currency. We have the money as a currency. Which would you rather go with?
Yeah. Oh, me? Well, so definitely I would say I'm not going to be Pollyannic. I mean, money is important, right? We all know what it's like. Well, maybe we don't all know, but those of us who know what it's like to suffer from lack of money know that's the pain. Um, so I'm not going to be Pollyannic that is important, and we need to be mindful that we can support ourselves. But we're going to go further with people, right? We are going to learn and then be able to earn more when we really tend to those relationships, when we take that opportunity to really connect and see um, who is around us and how can we learn from those people and how can we also give and help. And then together, we kind of can rise together.
Sure. You rightly said it. I often will go for a relationship. I've
Yeah.
heard people say, "Oh, I have money, but I don't have any friend." When they have occasions where they want people to come around, people don't show up.
Yeah.
But one thing I know that about relationship, it is said that woe to him that is alone in the day of trouble. When you're in trouble and you don't have anybody to speak to you or talk you out of it, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It is said that two is better than one because they have a better reward for their labor. And it is said that once you have a relationship, you can always have money because you
Yeah.
can build on that relationship, glean from them, lend your skills, and they can give you connection to places you want to be. But if
Yeah.
you have money, money can buy you friends, money can get you to some certain places. When you're sick on a sick bed, you need someone to take you to the clinic, you need someone to check on you, show you some love. Money can do all that for you.
Right.
So beyond money, I tell people, yes, it's good to have money. But beyond money, I'd rather want to have friends because if I have the right friends, I'll have the right connection, I'll make money from them. But if I
Yeah.
have money, I can turn my money to friends. I can't
Right.
make them to be friends. They can be human. Money is a legal tender. It's used in exchange for products.
Right. And like at a certain point, it doesn't matter, once your basic needs are covered, and then that richness in life is going to be based on who you share it with, right? Those experiences that you create and those memories that you have.
Yeah, and that's why you need people.
Yeah.
Somebody can learn from you, and you can be of a positive impact to somebody else there.
Yeah.
So that's why, in a way, it's a good one to be, impact others.
Yeah.
you know try
Yep.
and be there for others, try and be a blessing to others. We're actually meant to be a river and not a reservoir. You
Yeah.
find that people want to get and get and get. There's a word that says it is more blessed to give. Givers are always on top. Give us When you give, it's not about resources all the time. When you give of yourself, give of your knowledge, give of everything, you think you're actually dissipating, you're gaining more, you're getting better.
Mhm.
Because when we teach others what we know, we get better. It sticks more. So in giving, we flow on to others rather than just having to ourselves. And before you know, and that's why uh, um, it is said that it's more blessing. It's a more blessed to give than to receive. So when you give, you put smiles on people's face, and and that's it.
And
So
it feels that gratitude in you, right? And there's a lot of your how we get better and how we grow is based on what we give back. And we get so much more. We get a sense of value,
yes,
value to the society, value to that person. We get a level of confidence that we had something to offer. We were capable in that moment. And so it's really like that first really good solid step of just creating that great peace, that great internal peace that really truly comes from being the best that we can be and sharing that and not keeping our gifts and talents and treasures to ourselves.
yeah. And it says for you to grow, you need to stretch yourself. So if you don't go out of your comfort zone by being a blessing, you can't grow.
And
You
it's
think you're great,
not
huh?
right.
You
Good,
said
getting out of that comfort zone is not easy. It
it's
takes
not.
real intention.
Yeah, really intention and discipline. And
Yeah.
that's why we have consistency.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy to do videos too. I spent so much hours editing, doing videos.
Yeah.
But one thing that keep me going is excitement, the passion that I have doing it. So,
Yes.
and that's why it is really advisable that people go for their passion, not just because they want to have to pay bills, but beyond paying bills, what are you happy doing?
Yeah.
What do you love to do? I know that in the beginning might not be very pleasurable, but as time goes on, you learn a lot and you're happier that you're giving out to someone. You're putting smiles on people's face. You're able to empathize with them. You're able to bring them to a level that they can, stand on their own and do things for themselves.
Yep.
And you're leaving a mark in the sand of times. And that's what we've been called to do. We've been called to be a servant leader, give to others, not
Yeah.
just, get for yourself, but be a blessing to others.
Yeah, and if you don't connect with others, you can't develop that empathy, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
part of the process of being able to relate and understand, and then kind of start to get a feel for what that person's experiencing. And you can't do that unless we connect.
Yeah, it's true. So let me just go straight into the questions. I saw your resume and I was like, wow, this is so loaded. But I found that why the passion for all the certification? I can see a lot of trainings,
Yeah.
these, and I said, well, let me find out from you. What's the passion? What's the driving force? There
Yeah.
must be something driving you to do all this.
There's a few things. I have always been very driven and very ambitious. And I want to accomplish a lot. And so through that, I appreciate I have to learn. So I have to constantly be learning. I will say the first, though, part of my career, I really looked for that external um, validation. So I felt like, oh, if I get this degree or this certification, then that means that the world's going to see me as smart or as able to do this work. And so that definitely drove in the beginning that need and that desire to get those certifications. And then over time, kind of as I developed that knowledge and then just really getting out and doing the stuff, I could start to have that internal validation that says, you know what, like I spent time, I know, and I want to be able to put that to use. And that, and one of the things, so we mentioned John Maxwell. So I was fortunate, I got introduced to him at the very first couple of years of my career. And he said that leaders are learners and
Yes,
that
yeah.
we have to, consistent. We have to be consistent in reading and learning and staying up to date. And so that's always been a guiding principle.
Yes, and it is said that readers are learners.
Yep.
And he said, for you to earn more, you have to learn. So the
Yeah.
more you learn, the more you earn.
Yep.
Because, and one thing, preparation and opportunity, when they come together, is equal to success. But sometimes you never know. Just get prepared, just get skilled up. You never know when the opportunity will pass by. Somebody could just tell you, oh, we need an assistant. The presidency needs someone to do this. And if you are ready, and that's it,
Yep.
you just need the right candidates for that position.
And I think you have to be real intentional too. So, I had a lot of external learning, a lot of external, either a degree or a certification. And I always had a vision. And so I do think that it's definitely important that you create a learning plan, which is another great tip that John Maxwell gives is we need a learning plan. And that plan needs to fit your vision. You need to understand where it is you're wanting to go and then understand what is it I need to know. So to your point, that when that opportunity comes up, it's too late to prepare. You if you're not prepared, you just missed the
You
opportunity.
lose out.
Yeah. And that's that idea too. Luck favors the prepared mind.
Yeah. So get prepared. That's what she's saying. Get
Yes.
get
Have
ready.
a
Get
plan.
ready for the race. You never know when the race will start. So just get ready and be
Yep.
ready to, take the beating. So
Yeah.
like you rightly said, always be prepared.
Yeah. And
Opportunity.
I was sorry to interrupt. I was definitely also, told, and it's been very well, is to always say yes.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I told my kid. My
yeah,
son went, that never say no.
yeah,
Even when it's difficult, make an attempt. I'll make an attempt.
yeah,
Whilst trying to do it, the innate power. There's
mhm,
this power from God that just comes to help you
yep,
because you have already showed capability. You didn't take a no for an answer. You didn't chicken out, and you didn't allow fear to take over you. You've
yeah,
accepted it. So all you need to do is like, God, I need help. How do I go? Where do I go? How do I start it? And you just find out that you just begin to figure things out. And before you know it, friends around can also assist you. So
yep,
beyond that, you must be ready,
yeah,
ever ready. That's what they said. The soldiers are ever ready for battle.
yep, yeah, no doubt.
Awesome. So that's a great one. What did you do to warrant the partnership with organizational leaders to execute strategic initiatives?
I
I
said,
know
yeah,
that there must be something about what you've done in past
yeah.
that would have driven them to say, okay, let's go into partnership. So what is
Well,
it?
yeah, I said yes. I again had a plan, and not like here is a detailed plan, but like, hey, I want to be successful in business, and I love working with people. And so when an opportunity came up, I said yes. And I always, to our earlier point, if I was trying to evaluate would I accept a job, I never accepted it based on money. I accepted it based on what was the opportunity. What was I going to um, be doing? What was I going to be creating? Was it going to be exciting? What were the lessons I was going to learn? And so I was fortunate. I really got, I, I didn't do this part on purpose, but I think it led to it. I started my first HR job It was kind of a startup. It was a small company that was taking on new product line. We were going to have to triple manpower. It was kind of taking what was and changing it into something more. And then during the recession in early 2000s, I was, given the opportunity to move into a job that studied positions and understood how the position serves organizations, which then led to how do we reorganize departments so that we can stay within our budget and stay competitive in these trying markets. And then that just led to, hey, we're opening a new part of the business and being able to be a part of that. So saying yes and just gaining that experience and valuing that more than,
The
again,
money.
not Pollyannic. I paid my bills, right? I kept the lights on. I kept food. I got to do a reasonable amount of, discretional income, but not, more than once I've been like, God, it'd be nice to make more money, wouldn't it? But always, always value that what you're going to learn and what you're going to take away because they can't take that from you.
Sure. And that's what, you remember I said, the more you learn, the more you earn.
That's
So
right.
beyond money, when we have a job opportunity,
Yeah.
we should look beyond money.
Yeah.
What is in it for you?
What
What
are
are
you
you
going
going to learn? What
to?
skills are you going to learn? Who are the people you will get opportune to meet? I
Yeah.
look beyond the money because a lot of times there are places money can take you to. But when you get into an organization, be based on the organizational relationship, you are able to talk to some senior friends, people you have been dreaming to meet with. But on a platter of gold, you get to meet them because
And
you're
you
working
have
with
to,
them.
yeah, you got to get out of that comfort zone too and like volunteer. One of the things I thought about the other day is no one's going to come to your cubicle and say hi. No
No,
one,
you gotta
no
leave
one,
your zone and look for them.
yeah, they're not going to say, hey, you look interesting. Let me introduce myself. Like you have to go to where the people are.
That's what I said to my kids and my mom, my husband. What I said was like, no one will come knocking on your door. That we
Oh,
need a skillful person to come and write. But you've got to go and say, I'm a writer. I want to volunteer to do some work with you.
yeah.
And people love that because when they see you volunteering and they see that you've got the right skill, you can become a contract staff and you can become a full-time staff.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's the quickest way for anyone looking for a job to
That's
get a
right.
job.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
that's what
tell,
I've ever done.
yes, I'm the same way. I'm like, do things for when you are first starting, do whatever you can for free. Just like at this moment, we're just building a resume, we're just building the skill sets to
Yeah,
answer those questions of how you work with others, what have you accomplished.
true, true.
Yeah.
Yes, I also want to find that from you what was um while building this partnership and strategic relationship, were there a time you had challenges with disagreements, not agreeing with this team? How did you manage it?
Yeah, so I mean, and that's normal, right? You get people together, you are gonna have conflict, and then conflict's not bad. Conflict's not. Sometimes it's just two people who really feel like they have the right answer to the problem, and
Mm.
so I think that we have to first understand our how we feel about conflict, right? How we feel about when people disagree. And then if that gets us all kind of feeling icky inside or we need to do some work with that because that can show up in not good ways. It can show up in that you're avoiding the conflict. It can show up that you're getting to be passive aggressive, meaning you say one thing but then you do something else, right? And if we've all worked with someone who is passive aggressive and we don't want to be that person, right? Um,
Yeah,
but I think to truly like once we get okay, and then we can, if we're in the middle of that conflict, one, we have to be in the right mindset to approach the conversation. If we're emotional in that moment, then that's not the right time. We need to just kind of put a pause, put a pin in it. But then I think being able to truly like understand where's the conflict, where do we agree, and then where do we disagree. And so once we can at least start where we agree, where we can find that common connection, and then we can start to build from there. And we can start to say, okay, we agree that, we want this top product, or we want to, create this policy or whatever it is. And then we need to be able to have a conversation where we're not attacking each other. We're
yeah,
just focused on the problem and where is it we disagree and why do I think this is the right approach. But then I got to be willing to listen and be vulnerable to maybe this person has a better idea.
sure.
So, yeah, so we have to go in with truly a pure intent that we are wanting to solve the problem. We are not attacking each other, and we are really wanting to hear what the other person says. And maybe, just
He has
maybe,
a better reason.
they have a better idea, and that's okay. Or maybe together, I like to say at times, let me talk and draft. Let me, like, you say something, and then that may, trigger something in me, and I can add to it, and then that triggers something in you, and you can add to it, and before you know it, we actually have a third solution that's better than either one of ours.
Sure, and that's where you build good listening
Yeah,
skills. Because
yeah,
when you're disagreeing, you have to find out, okay, why is your own idea better than mine? What do I need to learn? And in the vast way you have the disagreements, you'll learn more. And that's where I often tell people, when you fail in achieving a task, do not look at the failure. Look at what you have to learn from the
Yeah.
failure. Because
And
there's
it's,
a lot to learn in failure than there is a lot to learn in success. Failure
yeah.
takes you to the drawing board, trying to find out what is it that I did that was not right. How do I get around it? How do I fix it?
Yeah. And if you both agree right off the bat, then you might both be missing something. And you won't even realize you missed it until you're too far down the line to change it. So
Yeah,
having that difference of opinion actually can and hopefully should create a stronger solution.
yeah, and also this also strengthens relationship.
Yep.
Once
Yeah.
you disagree to agree, you become better.
Yeah. And, one of the things I had learned through um, some training is sometimes we don't want to go to a solution too fast, because if we don't take time to have that conversation, then we don't take time to really understand each other, and we could shortchange that relationship that we both have, and we could both like kind of not like the answer. So having the conversation adds a lot of value to your point, the relationship, and kind of that long-term success of whatever the project problem you're solving.
Yeah, and one reason why we need to value relationship, there is a word said by one of my mentors, is that relationships are the ships we ride on to destiny.
Yeah. Oh,
That
amen.
means we need a ship to ride on in the sea of life. So if you lack a ship to ride on, someone to climb on to get to the next level,
Yeah.
then you might remain at the same spot for a longer time.
Yeah. And that's not helpful always.
Yeah, that's why we must also reach out to others. Go out of your comfort zone and reach out. And the only way to connect is by speaking out and reaching out. It might just be, oh, I like your dress. Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely head. Oh, your perfume smells good. Something to strike a conversation, something to just make the other party relax. You get?
Yep. Yeah.
Before you know it, you put a smile on the person's face.
Oh, and that's so nice, right? And we don't know where people are, and sometimes that kind word might be what they needed.
Yeah, some of them may be going through tough times.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those little things we say do
And
do create an impact.
yep.
We'll probably take 1 minute break. We'll be back in a second.
Are you thinking of how to publish your book on Amazon, or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
Hi, welcome back. So we move to the next session. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So how do you build equitable, inclusive experience for your employees, patients, and community?
So I definitely will start with employees first, because I have definitely really spent time in each of the organizations I work in to understand how are our people coming in to the organization, how do they experience the organization, and how do they ultimately leave. And so really working to kind of understand what are those experiences that they're having, and what are the for me, inclusion means people feel safe. And so how do we do that? How do we help them, bless you, how do we help them be and feel safe in the environment? And that really starts with kind of looking at what's the organization structure, and what's the rules, what are the rituals, how do we engage our people? And then certainly we have to look at, our systems, and when we apply them, what's the effect? And then if we identify issues or concerns, how are we getting them addressed? You're on mute.
I was sneezing, so I had to mute.
Yeah, bless you.
Yeah. That's a great way of doing it. And you know why I said so? This helps you to retain your staffing.
Yeah.
This helps you to keep them for a longer time. And when your staff are happy doing their job, you would retain more of your customers, your patients.
Yes.
This in return affects the way they respond to patients. If they're well taken care of, if they're loved.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I've definitely got a strong appreciation over the last year is we can't understand someone's experience until we connect with them. Sure. Right? It's very easy to walk through our world and assume that the way we experience the world is the way everyone experiences the world. And some of that stuff you can't read, right? You can only understand when you have a conversation.
Yeah.
And more than one conversation, and more than one conversation with one person, and really kind of truly understanding what are their lived experiences, and how is, it might not even be from this organization. It could have been, from experiences before, because we can't just, I laugh. I think, it's baggage, period, right? We have experiences. It shapes us. It shapes us positively. It shapes us negatively. But we bring that new shape into the next environment. And so we have to connect to break through, one, our own personal biases, and two, just those stereotypes. And moving into healthcare, I definitely got a better understanding that I didn't have, and before moving into this position, on how people experience the world, but then how that shows up in their health, and how we can make sure that we're helping to care for the whole person.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes, beyond that, yes, we want to retain our staffing, the people that work with us, but you find that you can't retain all. Some will disagree with the process.
Yeah.
Some are not ready to bend, to adjust to a new system. But that's where, you find that not everybody is meant for you.
And that's okay. And we're not meant for every, right. Like, it's okay. And I think to your earlier point, it feels like a failure when that connection's not made, but maybe it's really not. And knowing what's not for us is just as valuable as knowing what is. And so we have to be able to say, you know what, this isn't the right fit for me, and it doesn't mean I'm bad.
Yeah. It might just be some other place might be just very okay for you.
Yeah, you're just not, this one's not for you. I remember Oprah said this one time, and I loved it. That said, God has this plan for you, and if you don't follow it, He nicely taps you on your shoulder to say you're not on the right path. And if you don't listen, it gets harder. And sometimes you just have to get totally knocked down so that you listen.
Yeah.
Happens.
Because maybe that's the only way to get you to listen.
Yeah, yeah.
So you might have to learn it the hard way.
When I'm feeling like I got knocked down, then I have that play in the back of my head that says maybe this is just not my path.
Okay. When you talk about inclusive, can you further explain what it is with building inclusive work cultures through connection and building strong relationship?
Yeah, I think it is kind of what we've been talking about is how do you connect with your people? How do
Yeah.
you make sure everyone feels safe
Good. And everyone feels safe.
and really feels like they can share who they are and they share their thoughts and their opinions. And so part of it is truly one having that conversation and really like when you're in a group. Have you ever noticed like if say it's a group of three and two people are really like they're talking about something that they're excited about and you know nothing about it, and so you're just sitting there and you're watching them talk. How does it make you feel?
Sometimes you feel out of place.
Yeah, like and those two people might not have meant to make that happen, but they were just they were just into what they were doing, right? Might not have meant to make you feel out of place or excluded from the conversation. And so part of that inclusion is just being mindful of your surroundings and are
Sure.
people participating in are they participating not only in the formal conversations but also in those informal water cooler conversations. Are you as a leader are you getting input from everyone? Are you making those important decisions and having those important conversations at work where everyone's there, or are you having them out the golf course or at lunch when it's just you and one other person? And certainly inclusion and ensuring that we're breaking down those barriers is not always easy, right? But it's okay to do hard stuff. It's okay to say we're going to do the hard stuff and we're going to make sure, because while it takes maybe a little bit longer in the beginning, it's a lot faster in the end.
Yeah, but I think that's a good one. Trying to make sure everybody feels among. Trying
Yeah.
to show that everybody has a contribution, as in they're part of the team. And when
Yeah.
people feel part of the team, they feel very motivated to give in their best. So
And to
not losing anyone.
Yeah, and you made a point earlier too. I mean, especially like who are our customers? One of the things I remember reading is like women, we are powerhouse buyers. We one spend on our whatever we are wanting and interested in, but we have a lot of say on what gets bought in our household. And so who are your customers and do you have them at the table helping to build and market your product?
Hmm. So you have to determine your customers.
Yeah, you have to. You have to know who are your customers, and then making sure that your customer's voice is at the table.
Yeah, and that's why you have to do some market research. How do you find out what people need there?
That's
What
right.
problem they have? So there's a lot of work on the line to get your customers. Who are your true avatar? Just like a social media person. Who are you trying to speak with? Who are you trying to reach? You must understand the market before you go in with a product. Otherwise, you'll probably be in the market for a long time and you'll probably be saying, oh, the market is not moving. And that's because you didn't have a good grasp of what the market is all about. They don't understand, you don't understand what problem they have. If you
Yeah.
have approached it from a problem perspective, solving their problem, then you have the right customer. So we must be able to make a research, find out what is needed, and how do we go about it. So beyond just getting the product and just pushing it into the market, know what the people want and
Yep.
get the right product for them. Once
Yeah.
you're solving a problem or creating a solution, people will come after you.
Yep. And if you don't know what the problem your customer has, then how do you know you're solving the right problem, right? You might be spending a whole lot of energy going in the wrong direction.
Yes, and you're not selling and you're thinking the market is bad. No. So you've got to know your market before you jump into the markets. Understand what your people want and give them what they want. And when you give them what they want, then you're sure to get more business from them. There will be a repeat buy, they will come after you, they'll tell people, and that's when you earn the trust of the people.
Yep.
Referrals comes in. They now refer you, mouth to mouth referrer. They can tell you, guess what? I went to this place, I got this medicine, and this is great for me, and I'm using it well. The computer is working very well. And if you're thinking to get one, you want to try the person out. So that's where you enjoy some kind of referrer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So how has this over time? I have realized that it is the quality of our relationships that determine the quality of our lives. And solid relationships start with developing our self-awareness, being intentional with our actions, and seek to understand others. Can you just throw more light on this?
Yeah. So I think this came to me more um, in my person. It started with my personal life, um, and definitely with my children, and kind of understanding how was I showing up and how was I interacting with them, particularly when I wasn't interacting in a way that I was overly proud of. And so, like I might have been fussing, you know, can't imagine, right? And so I was like, how, again, the idea of being intentional and saying, okay, if I know I'm not showing up, and maybe it's not that you have these glaring behaviors that you knew that wasn't what you wanted to do, but maybe you're not getting the results that you wanted. And you don't, like, you keep having these conversations and it's not getting you the results. Then, we can only control us. So we have to first do that, like, okay, what's happening? So if my behavior is poor, it's probably, like, for me, I had to identify those triggers. If I'm feeling rushed, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I'm hungry, then I don't need to get into really serious conversations in that moment, because I'm not my best self, right? I'm gonna have a short fuse. I'm not going to be able to handle a whole lot of pushback. I'm gonna get, like, this is what I said, very command and control type mentality. But sometimes it was, hey, I've asked you to do multiple things and you didn't do it, and I don't understand. And so again, it's taking that opportunity to say, what can I do differently, and how can I approach that differently? And so maybe it's, hey, instead of telling you, I'm going to write a list, or I'm going to, we've had some conversations that haven't gone the way we wanted them to go. So maybe we need to write. Maybe we need to, take the verbal piece out of it and just put the words to it. And I definitely think, again, it always goes back to our relationships. And I read this Facebook post that was so meaningful. The only person at the end of the day that will remember how late you worked are your kids.
Yeah.
Right? And so appreciating that the output that you have is not as important as kind of that building in those relationships. And when they're gone, they're gone. And so you want to definitely make sure that you're intentional with them. And so Brandon Burchard has a great tool where he talks about, how do you want people to describe you when you're not around?
Yeah.
And then think on that, and then
That's integrity.
yeah, and then act like that. So when you're starting that conversation with that person, thinking, okay, how do I want them to think of me? And then am I showing up in that way?
That's a good one. When you have that in mind, you prepare yourself to
Yeah.
act in the best way.
Yep.
So it's a great one. I really do appreciate all you said, and getting to know and know asking yourself questions. How do I want to be looked at? How do I want people to perceive me as? And what do I need to impact my word? And these are questions, John Maxwell will often say, as our mentor, would often say, before I go out of my house, I ask myself, who is he that needs help today, that I need to show up? And so when you go with a mindset of preparing ahead, you get to achieve
Yeah.
rather than going unprepared. And that's why, there are two set of people that we have. We have people who see opportunities, and we have those who see and seize opportunity. Some people see it and don't get it. Some people see opportunity and they seize opportunity. These are different. Seeing and seizing opportunity are two different words. So
Yep.
we can see opportunity and pass by. We can see it and seize it because
Yep.
it doesn't come all the time. So I also want to find out from you, during difficult moments, were there times you were you felt so bad? How did you come out of your difficult times? Maybe feeling depressed, not happy? And
Yeah.
when you had the great moments, how did you celebrate? Because I believe when you celebrate the little wins, this helps to motivate you rightly.
Yeah. So I definitely am a person of faith. And so I will say the number one thing that has helped kind of pull me out of that anxiety or that stress or that overwhelm is meditation. And for me, meditation is kind of like a prayer. And when I started this practice, I started at 5 minutes, and now for me, like 20 minutes is just a beautiful amount. And I
And
always
when do you do this? In the
I do
morning
it in
or?
the morning. I do it in the morning. And I always start by going through the day, like the 24 hours that pass, and giving gratitude. And I walk through every moment, and it doesn't have to be big things. It could be my son and I had a great conversation. My daughter and I told a joke, and I laughed, and it was a great moment. I woke up and worked out. Like, it could be, so it doesn't have to be these big things, but you start to really add
Giving
up.
gratitude for the little things.
Yes, because it's the little things, right, that make up
Yes.
most of our life. And so I start there. And then I pray about, like, for guidance on whatever problem it is that I need solving. And then the part that can be hard is I have to be quiet, right? I can't hear if I just keep talking, even if it's even
I'm
if
in a learning curve on that.
yeah,
I'm still learning that.
it is hard. And
I
some
love to play things around me.
yeah.
If you call me sometimes you hear music at the background, you hear some kind of voices, maybe preaching or something. So one day, I think my husband came and he said, when will you have a quiet moment? You seem to have things, you like noise.
Right.
So
And yeah.
I have to make a conscious effort to take some moments and be quiet.
And sometimes I have to visually, like, sometimes I picture this stream, and whatever problem I have, like, I put in the stream, and I'm like, or I picture, like, God's hands, and I'm like, I'm taking it from my
Yeah.
brain and I'm putting it in your hands. And I have to have that mental
Picture
image
of
because I want to hold
taking it off and giving it over to him.
Yes, because I love control and I want to hold on. to my problems, even though they're much better in his hands.
Sure, that's a great one. I want to thank you. Before we call it a day, I want to thank our viewers and also want to thank our guests. Perhaps before we round up the meeting today, do you have a unique story, something you want to say? Maybe what you've been through in life in the past, difficult moments, so that somebody else who stumbled on this can get something.
Yeah, I think where I'm at right now is just a great spot. We talked a lot about intention, and we talked a lot about, what's more valuable, money or relationships? And, for me, I made a switch a year ago to really focus on training and coaching and helping build into other people. Up
Yeah,
until that point, I had 20 plus years about money and making money that top priority and being good. I mean, certainly I was really good, but didn't get to spend the amount of time and attention and helping to build into others. And so making that change definitely pushed out of a comfort zone, definitely pushed into some anxiety, but has definitely been just that right move. And to your point, as we say yes and as we lean into our gifts, we get more opportunities. So pushing past that uncomfortableness
yeah,
is so valuable. So it's not easy, but it is valuable.
yeah. You said it all, getting out of the comfort zone, pushing it even when it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
It's more valuable because you gain a lot. Thank you so much for a time like this, and really do appreciate you. And I know that our viewers out there would have gotten one or two things from you, learning to
Yeah.
push yourself, go out of your comfort zone, the inclusiveness, making people feel wanted in an environment. That's a great one. I want to thank you for making that time. I know that getting you, it's, oh my God, you have a busy schedule. And also, I want to thank the viewers who are there to watch us. And please, let's go out dare to make a difference in our world. If everyone goes out to make a difference, we will have a better world. So I want to thank everyone. And before we call it a day, you might want to reach out or send a mail. You might want to join me on this show in our next episode. You might. And this is details. So thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You